Association and some of the activities. This is Carly Frieders.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and Alan down here today to talk to you. Like you said, I'm a teen attorney. I've been volunteering with Teen Court as a teen attorney for about 4 years now, so I've been with the program for a really long time, and it's definitely one of the most amazing programs that I've ever seen and ever gotten the chance to be a part of. So, like I said, I'll tell you a little bit about what role we as teen attorneys play in the process when it comes time for court on Saturdays. A family will come in, and after they're greeted by that adult volunteer, the front desk interviewer, the next step to prepare them to go into court is for them to meet their defense attorneys. And when we come in as volunteers, we don't know really on any given day until we get there whether we're going to be assigned to defense or prosecution. As defense, it's our job to represent the minors that come through the program, to make sure that they understand what's going on, to help prepare them for court, and to make sure that the jury gets to hear their side of the story. And then on prosecution, it's our job to represent the state or the community and advocate the interests of them to the jury by maybe bringing up some concerns about the defendant's behavior and trying maybe to advocate for a sentence that would be more likely to prevent them from doing such things again. So either way, we're kind of responsible for advocating a certain point to the jury. As defense attorneys, we have to, once the defendant comes in, we then kind of take over the process. We meet with them and their parents, and we take them back for an interview in one of the offices. And during the interview, there are kind of two different functions. The first is to make sure that we as attorneys understand what happened, because we've already read the police report, but at times police reports are often not complete accounts of what happened. There may be misunderstandings, and there are also things that we want to know about the defendant outside of their case, such as how are they doing in school, what kind of things are they involved in the community. We want to get to know them better. And then we also want to have a chance to explain the process to them and their parents and to help address any concerns that they might have. And to me, I think that's a really cool part of the program to be involved in when you're on defense, because a lot of people think when they hear teen court, oh, that's great, they're learning really good public speaking skills. And obviously that is a part of it, but there's also, I think that something for me that has improved a lot through volunteering at teen court is just interpersonal skills and being able to work with, we work with, even as teenagers, we get the privilege through this program of helping real people solve real problems, and sometimes very serious problems, as Alan talked about. So it's really cool for me to have the experience to try and help them navigate through what is kind of a tough time in their life. They probably don't want to be down here on a Saturday morning. Their parents might not want to be down there, but it's ultimately our job to get them ready to go into court and to get them ready to tell the jury about themselves and about their offense. And so once both sides have prepared the defense through interviewing and through reading the police report, and then the prosecution primarily through reading the police report that were provided for the case, we go into court. It is a very formal procedure that is pretty similar to what you might see in a normal courtroom. The attorneys introduce themselves. The jurors are we do what's called a voir dire. We ask them, do you know the defendant? Do you know anything about this case, to make sure that we have an impartial jury of their peers who's deciding on a sentence. And then the bulk of the case begins. Both sides get to make an opening statement to the jury where we basically get to tell them our version of the story about what happened and bring up our primary points that we are going to prove to them through the defendant's testimony. And then after we make that statement, the defendant is called to the witness stand to testify. This is something that makes teen court pretty unique from other courts, is that the only witness is the defendant. So it's primarily the defendant's job to get to tell they get the chance to be the only person telling their story to the jury. So it's kind of a big responsibility for them, that we expect them to tell the truth and to be open about it. And I found that most defendants are very willing to be open about what's going on in their lives when they're sitting in front of a jury of their peers who they know just kind of wants to help them and give them a sentence that's going to help them get on a better path. So both sides will get the opportunity to ask the defendant questions to help further prove their points. After that, the parents have an opportunity to make a statement to the jury, Both sides give closing arguments, which are like a summary of our points that we want to stick with the jury when they're deliberating on their decision. And then after that, we are all sent out of the room, and that's when the jury gets to decide what they think the most appropriate sentence is for the defendant that they've been presented with. And they have a really wide range of options. For most cases, there's a minimum sentence that depends on the offense that usually the defense attorney is probably going to be advocating for. So, for example, if you have a drug-related case, they're going to be required to do at least one jury duty, write one apology letter to someone, do one substance abuse-related workshop or program, and do a program called Basic Training that all defendants do that talk about juvenile laws and decision-making. But then there are, after that, there are a whole lot of other options that the jury can assign to the defendant based on what they've heard. They may decide that this defendant maybe has a hard time expressing their emotions or is expressing them inappropriately, and so they may assign journal writing to give them a chance to reflect on their actions. They may assign a workshop called Self-Improvement that is designed to help defendants set better goals and reach those goals. There's things like homework help, peer mediation if they're having conflicts with other people at school. So there's a really wide range of choices that the jury is given. They ultimately get to make that decision. And then we're called back into the room, and we get to hear the verdict from the jurors. If we're on defense, we then make sure to wrap up with our client by taking them to an exit interviewer who helps set all of their sentences and make sure that they can complete it within the required amount of time so that they satisfy the requirements of the program and get to have that conviction expunged or gotten rid of on their record. So that's kind of half of the aspects of being a teen attorney with teen court is what we do for the program and helping the defendants who come through it. But there's also we also do a lot of things. As we're called the Teen Court Bar Association. It's the organization of all volunteer. It's mostly teen attorneys like myself, but also other teens who regularly volunteer with the program who have chosen to remain as bailiffs or serve another role in the court. And we get to do some fun things together just to improve volunteer bonding. We get to do professional developments where presenters will come often from the legal field or from the perspectives of many other issues in the community. I remember just recently, or just last year, we had a workshop about street harassment. So we try and stay up to date on different issues that are affecting teens in the community so that we can do the best job possible when we're talking about those issues in court. And we do things like we went and visited the federal courthouse also last year. So for me, it's just been a really unbelievable chance to both get the experience serving in a professional role and trying to help people and trying to become a better public speaker and all of the things that are inherent in the role we serve as teen attorneys, and also to have a chance to meet other teens in the community who are interested in the same things and have the same goals, and to get to learn more about the legal field and about other issues affecting our community with them. So I think that's it.
I just want to mention a couple of things, and we'll take some questions. First of all, I guess it was less than 2 years ago, we